Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Hello and welcome to All for United with me, John Foster, MUFC. We've got a good show lined up tonight. Real positive. We're going to be talking about 6 players who we think have been some of our best players of the season. We know that Honor's already our player of the season, but we are going to mention some of the players as well. So joining us tonight is Natalie. How you doing, Nat?
Hi, John. Doing good. Can't wait for today.
Good stuff. Connor, thank you for joining in, mate. You're becoming a regular now, so thank you very much. We're welcoming back Marty from the United States. How are you doing, Marty?
I'm doing good. It was a rainy morning, but it's hot and steamy out there. So, I'm glad you invited me back. I feel privileged, and it's nice seeing you all and that you're all doing well.
Whenever we get somebody in from a different country, the weather's always nicer wherever you are. It doesn't matter who it is, the weather's always nicer. Christian, how are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a while since I was on last time, so I'm happy to be back again.
I'm glad you've come on, and we have waited specifically for this show to get you back on because, well, obviously we can probably guess who you're going to be representing today. So yeah, it's only right that you come on the show. And Matt, we can probably guess who you're going to be repping as well. But how are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Our weather's pretty much been as bad as Marty was mentioning before. We had rain this morning, it threw it down, and now the sun's out. So yeah, usual Manchester weather. It's warm 1 minute and cold the next, but not too bad, pal.
Good stuff. And Ben, you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm getting there, mate. I'm getting there, lad. Hope you're all right.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Leah Galton's birthday today, so obviously a big shout out there. I'm just going to spoil who I'm going to be talking about towards the end of the show, but happy birthday, Leah. We'll obviously go into a bit more detail on Leah's season towards the end of the show. But just before we start talking a bit about the players of the season, first of all, it's come out today that Amy Turner has won the community champion kind of role or award. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, but it's great to see so many players obviously getting into it and volunteering, and you can really see on some of the videos that we've seen on helping lonely people. I know that she was promoting that one, kindness and all that kind of stuff. Now, to start off with yourself, isn't it nice to actually be a part of a club who actually does this on the regular? And obviously, Amy Turner's what about? Yeah. Well, it's great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, Amy Turner for me deserves that. She's one of them people who, no matter how you're feeling and no matter what's happened, results, she's always like interested in the community, in the fans, in the club growing, in little kids, and promoting the best for Manchester and I suppose the best for Manchester United. So I'm really happy that she's won that award. Well deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Harry Maguire kind of got it for the men's team as well. But it is good to see, and it's good to see that a big club like us are actually doing something and getting ourselves out there as well. And we're getting rewarded for doing that as well. Matt, we saw something on Twitter, and we're not going to go into it too much just yet because we've got Richard Laverty on the show on Thursday, which is going to be cracking. If you don't follow Richard Laverty on Twitter, please do. He's been in journalism and women's football for a very long time. He's been on the show a couple of times already, so we won't go into it too much. But what we can say is, obviously, we saw that tweet from Soccer Donna. Is that how you pronounce it, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
So basically, 6 players, all who are rumoured to be leaving the club, adds up to around about 400,000, a little bit more than that. What are your thoughts on what you saw there regarding the prices and the players? What's your thoughts on that, Matt?
I mean, yeah, listen, it's something new, isn't it? I don't think I've seen anything like that before. whether it's accurate is another thing. But listen, you know, it's content. We all talk about wanting content and wanting transfer talk. So, I mean, you know, fair play to whoever runs it. You know, they're putting stuff out there. Yeah, I think that's that really. Like I said, it was interesting to see where they got the figures from. I don't know. They did talk sort of, you know, like adding it up, and that's how they got the total of, is it 400? I don't know, but I think, yeah, you know, overall interesting. Good that we can sort of see fans an idea. Like I said, I don't know how accurate it is. I mean, some of them obviously, you know, Preston Heath, for example, we know they're going back, so that bit is. But in terms of the others, who knows? But yeah, it's just, listen, it's a little bit of chat. I think I've seen them do other clubs as well, so it's not just ours. You know, there's one before on, I think it was Barcelona. So yeah, it's just content, isn't it? And it's something for us all to chat about and sort of discuss in the off-season, really.
Yeah, and Ben, I know that you're not one of these people who gets too passionate about transfers until it's actually over the line. It's still good to actually get excited about players coming in and obviously worry a little bit about players leaving.
Yeah, you can always get a little bit excited or anything, but you know me, I don't get carried away until things are officially done, signed, sealed on the dotted line. But as Craney said, it does make good content, and at least somebody's got out their way to give you a sort of rough indication or rough idea of if these players were under contract and were to be sold. It just shows you sort of what levels of a transfer value that these players are valued at. You know, what kind of a fee you could be expecting for these type of players. But it is good to see, though, because you don't see a lot of it around. Like Matt said, you do not see a lot of that sort of stuff around, especially in the women's game. In the men's game, it's you refresh your feed every 5 minutes. There's about a dozen to like 40, 50 different like people talk about transfers, giving their own transfer verdicts and their own transfer values and everything. So it's good to see, though, that you sort of roughly sort of guesstimate how much a player would be worth, just by using that sort of like valuation that this person or these people, if it's a group of people, are put out there. So it's good to see. You know, even though I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom when it comes to transfers, I do agree that it's good to see in the women's game that we're sort of taking that a bit more seriously now.
There's a comment on screen I'll put on screen from Warriors about still considering no news about the manager. They don't faff like this with the men's team. Don't get me wrong, I think there are things going on behind the scenes, and maybe the person's already been appointed, we don't even know. That's probably wishful thinking, but it could potentially be the case. I just think that Man United, especially the women's team, they're very precise when they announce things, and I think they announce things at the time for a reason. So don't be too disillusioned that things haven't been spoken about just yet. Maybe that's the positive way of looking at it. Although you could be right, maybe we haven't got a clue, but I think maybe that's probably closer to the mark. Natalie, we're going to start off with yourself regarding owner, but before you do, there's a comment that Stuart made about this one. This is brand new to me, unless if you're talking about literally the fact that Lee, exactly, being a rugby team. But
yeah, that's what I think he's talking about. They did used to obviously train at LSV. LSV have Lee Centurions, so that's probably what you read, Stuart. Let me know if that's it. If not, but yeah, they used to train alongside the rugby league or union, who knows what they are, but yeah, they used to train alongside them, use their facilities, and then obviously the winter came, frozen pitches, nowhere to go, and that's how the issues all started with Carrington, really. And I'm a bit concerned that we've not heard of even just a whisper, but I think they will be working hard to obviously bring in someone of a top quality. That's what I want. We want top quality.
Mm-hmm. Let's get straight into it then. So, Nat, Honor, now you mentioned this before Christmas. You said that Honor was going to win Player of the Season. I think, me personally, I think at times, maybe it should have been Jackie or Tooney or Heath going into stuff. But I think out of everyone, she's been the most consistent. And you can blame it on injuries, you can blame it on anything. But Honor's obviously got it for a reason. I think the fans would have voted for it, the players would have voted for it. Natalie, your thoughts on Honor this season and winning that award?
Yeah, I think she's come in, stand out. Like you say, I think Jackie, Tobin, Leah have all had brilliant times. But for me, I think they've all had little moments, maybe where they haven't been on point. Even if it's just sort of Tobin starting off, Leah starting off, Jackie's bit towards the end was hit and miss, but I think she did a really great job at the start. And I think if anyone's going to push her closest, it was a push on her closest. It was probably Jackie. Obviously, Tuni with all the goals. You've got to shout all these players out, and I know we will. But for me, solidly, the only moment I can remember when Honor wasn't sort of on it was that first half versus City, and she got a bit ran ragged, but then she recovered it, came back, did so well, and then she was the player of the match in the second game versus City, which we ended up winning on penalties. So for me, I think it's the fact that she's 21, come in, not had any clue about this league. Tuni's been in the league before, Toby's a World Cup winner, this is Jackie's second season. This is her first season, come in, 21, didn't speak a word of English. So to learn that, not knowing it, like I said, not knowing and adapt to the league during COVID, for me, that's why she's won it. That's why, I could go on and say she's clear, but she's up and down that pitch. She's defending. I mean, I think that Barclays shared a video, and it was her like tackling Kirby in the middle of the park and then laying off Tuni for a shot that the keeper saved. And it's just little moments like that. Don't matter who she's come up against, she's not been phased. I remember when we played Chelsea and we were attacking, so she was halfway at the pitch, but she won it back all the way up the other half and then started the attack again. And it's just those moments. She's not looked out of place against anyone, and there's world-class wingers in this league, and she's just slotted in. And I think that a lot of, I've seen stats about her, the way she carries the ball. I think she's, the way she carries up the field, she's started a lot of the attacks. I'm seeing people saying ever present, good on both sides, like you say. She even played right wing versus Leicester. She added the assists versus Burnley. I think that's what we need. But I think as well with our assists, sometimes she'll put through a ball that's beautiful, and then maybe the clinicalness from the strikers isn't there. That's the same with Jackie, and that's the same sometimes with Leah. No one's in the box. You're putting a beautiful ball, and no one's there. I mean, it'll come, the assists, and then a few goals. I think she has a nice shot on her. There's a few times, I've probably seen her through in the middle, and I thought, just take the shot, girl. And I think that'll come. For me, she is head and shoulders, and obviously she won it. That's voted by her players and the manager. But for me, I would have voted for 100%. I know there's a Barmy poll going out where, different, that's going to get narrowed down. And I think she'll win that too. And that'll be like sort of voted for by the fans. So, everyone get on that. If you disagree with me and you want someone else to win, get on the Barmy polls and see who's that, because we'll deliver trophies to the winner. So yeah, I think she'll win that one as well. And I had a feeling she was going to do it, and she's just been standout star for me.
Martin, we were speaking before we went live on air that you thought Honor has played really well this season. What is it about Honor that you like, and also, do many people in the United States talk much about Honor, or is she kind of gone a little bit unnoticed because she's not as well known as some players?
I would hazard to guess that the only Spanish player the U.S. fans have is Hermosa. That's the only one they know. That's because Hermosa plays in the NWSL and happens to play for Spain. Okay, Ona was a surprise to me. Okay, but because I don't remember her playing. I know she's on the national team, but I don't remember her playing against us when we played Spain. I think it's a well-deserved award that she's receiving. I think her work rate is spectacular. I think she's solid on whatever side that they put her on. She's solid on the line. She rarely ever what I noticed is that she's able to have good foot speed. And when she's picking the ball, and it's not to pick the ball to kick it out to secure it, it's to pick the ball and move it forward and to attack mode. She's great at transitioning. She has speed, she has agility, and she has phenomenal talent. And she probably has been, it's a very, very well deserved. I think she would have been challenged if Leah hadn't gotten hurt, because Leah would have probably continued scoring goals. And goals, unfortunately, are really the, you can miss 40% of your game, your talent, but if you score a boatload of goals and you're providing offense, everybody's gonna love you. Tooney, if Tooney had connected a bit more and hadn't had so many errant misses, it's a little bit. It's like she's great and she'll develop and she'll be awesome in years to come. But she did have significant number of misses that everybody's going, yeah, she's good, and when she hit it, it's great. But has she been in there day in, day out where Ona has? Jackie, I think Casey had to change her role. She had so many injuries that she literally had to change Jackie's role for how she was playing for Man United. And that's why, in the last couple of matches, she just wasn't being the Jackie who controlled the middle, because Casey didn't need that from her. She needed something else from her. Toby got hurt. But it's a well-deserved award. I'm not saying she wouldn't have won the award anyhow. She just would have had more challenges to win in the award. But she's been consistent throughout the season, except for, a little moment here or there. But gosh, they were just little moments. And I swear, if she lost that ball, man, she fought like a pit bull to get back. And that's what you want. I mean, she was wonderful watching her. Plus the fact that a lot of times you didn't even notice her. She was so good. And it's hard to get recognized when you're doing your job so well that everybody just expects you to do that because you've raised your own bar.
I want to bring Christian in on Ona as well. A lot of people are saying that Ona should be in the WSL team of the season as well. I think we spoke about it on our show. Christian, would you put up that one as well?
Yeah, I actually made my own WSL team of the season, and I had Ona in it because, as Natalie and Marty have mentioned, she's been consistently brilliant for us this season. I didn't really expect her to adapt so quickly and then be so good throughout the whole season, although I did watch some Levante games on YouTube when we got linked to her, and really saw that she would really improve us as a team, although not as quickly as she did. So she kind of surprised me, but kind of didn't. So yeah, for me it was 50-50 between Ona and Jackie for player of the season.
Well, let's move on to Jackie now then. So Christian, obviously Jackie for me played really, really well before Christmas. I think she was really instrumental to getting us to the top of the league. And I think a lot of fans on Twitter and across social media really thought that as well. What is it that you liked about Jackie this season?
Well, I said it was 50-50, and the reason why Jackie is my player of the season over Ona, although I also think Ona deserved it, and I can't really argue with her getting it. But the thing is that it's just Jackie's importance to the team as a whole when she plays. I think Jackie has been consistently brilliant as well. Although she kind of dropped off a little bit after Christmas, like the rest of the team, but she was still kind of our best player in a lot of the games, even when we lost. Like, for example, against Arsenal, when we lost to them, Jackie was the one creating our chances. The same against Manchester City. She was player of the match at Old Trafford, and etc. So, but the thing is, I said that she's just so important to the team, and it's got a lot to do with how we play when Jackie plays. So when Jackie plays, she's not only providing us with that ability to play out from the back better because she brings the quality on the ball in midfield. But she also always moves around to create space either for herself or for her teammates. So our play kind of looks a lot more fluid when she plays. And the same goes in an attacking sense. I felt that after Christmas we kind of, or at least for the last few games of the season, our attack looked pretty static. And Jackie didn't play in any of those games. So when she kind of, after she's started an attack, she moves forward and then she kind of creates space for others. And her absence in the team is kind of more noticeable than Ona's. So that's why Jackie is my player of the season over Ona. But it's very, very close.
I think you make some good points. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. And I think when we were top of the league, Jackie did always play. And our strongest midfield was with Harry Ladd and Tooney. Just sticking with yourself there, Christian, there's a comment from Warriors again about any news on Jackie. Well, she'll definitely be with us next season. Any thoughts over like where you are regarding Jackie's future?
Well, I obviously hope she stays because she's kind of the system, as my Twitter mutuals have been calling her. I'm not really sure what happened towards the end of the season, like why she didn't play. I kind of saw that she might have gotten a knock on international duty with the Netherlands and she kind of had taped her knee in a way. So maybe that was it. But then again, she also came on in 2 other games. So I'm not really sure if there's been anything like behind the scenes that we don't know of or anything that has affected Jackie's playing time towards the end. She's still under contract for another year. So I assume she stays, but I don't really know anymore.
Yeah, I think when it comes to things going on behind the scenes, I think on this show we always try and second guess everything, and sometimes we're right. I think a lot of us called that Casey was unhappy back in Christmas time regarding the training facilities, and sometimes when you follow a manager or a player for so long, especially yourself, Christian, because you follow Jackie for a long time, you kind of know what's right or what's wrong, or if someone speaks differently or acts differently or something's out of character, you do spot it. We're not just fans who just watch a 90-minute game and that's it. We do pretty much live and breathe it. So, if you do see something out of the ordinary, I think it's justified that we can kind of say that. Matt, regarding Jackie, she has had a fantastic season. What have been your thoughts on Jackie?
Yeah, I think I've always said massively improved from last year. I think last year I saw a different player to this year. I think one thing that I like is players that work hard and give, 100, 110% every game. And I think, similar to Ona, I don't think I recall, a bad game from Jackie or Ona this year. In a season where we've kind of struggled, so to speak, or certainly based on my expectations anyway, and it's not been great from my point of view. I think, Jackie's stood out, and like Christian said, become sort of vital to the team. I think there's been a lot of discussion this year about our best midfield three, and I've always said Hayley with Jackie and Tooney in front of her. And, it does show when one of them's missing that the team it's not the same. I wouldn't use the word falls apart completely, but it's not as effective in my view with those three players. And I think what you see Hayley does sort of the dirty work and the mopping up. Jackie's like the legs and she sees the passes and she's got the movement, and Tooney's sort of in and around everywhere, she's up and down. So I think the three complement each other well. But it's quite interesting how, we've got sort of three players there that, any one of them could have won player of the season for me. I think it's so close to call. And I don't think even in season one, I wouldn't have said we had it this close. There's always been pretty much a standout each season. So it's quite interesting for me how season 3, where we've probably not had our best season, we've got three players that, it's so close on player of the year that, like I say, anybody could have had it. And yet here we are having the discussion about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go on, Nat. Yeah.
I just want to reiterate what Matt says. I think it's hard because we've had a season where we would have, if we had started off, say, if we started it and flipped it and then ended really well, would have said it's a good season, even though it's 1 point away. And I get where everyone's coming from, because have said, I agree with Casey. I do think it's a failure, but I think it shows that we're raising our levels now. It's not just, like you say, first season, Alex, maybe LJ sort of stepped up. Second season, I can't remember who it was, Ladinator, Clear. This season, I do think that it is, like I said, I do think it is on her. But if it was Jackie, I wouldn't have been upset. If it was Toonie, I wouldn't have been upset. If it was someone else, I wouldn't have been upset. I would have been upset because I was like, I wanted it to be on her. But, you could have said it was any other person. And like what Marty says, listen, if Leah had carried on in the form she was in, I think she could have won it. If Tobin had been, come back from her injury and then shone and, scored wonder goals again, no one could have taken it away from her. And I just think it's hard, isn't it? Because we're seeing the best form of a lot of our players, and we need it again next year. We need them to, like someone saying, worried about Jackie. We're always going to be worried until she signs a new deal, I think. But I do believe Casey, even though, she's not our manager, but she's sorting out a lot of the stuff still. So if she says she's going to be here, I do believe she'll be here. She's under contract. It'd be the worst move we could make, getting rid of, not even letting her leave. So I think let the new manager come in, whoever that is, and then let them make a decision and maybe, persuade her to sign a new deal, make it more about Jackie. So for me, like she's the system. 100% would look different without her. But it's still my baby on a Spanish queen.
Can I add something to what Matt said about Jackie and kind of the midfield not looking, not crumbling per se, but not looking as strong as without than with Jackie in it. The thing is, like, I think it was evident towards, in the last 2-3 games when Jackie didn't start and Casey started with Katie Salem and Lucy Staniford, that it was just too static and too slow. For Salem and Staniford's qualities, they don't really have the legs in a way, and both of them kind of wants to get on the ball deeper on the pitch and then kind of play forward. But you need kind of one of them to do it, and then the other one to move forward to create an overload, or else just the build-up play will just become very flat and sideways like it was. And another thing is that Jackie also has been played out on the wing for some reason, and even then she kind of looked like our best player. If you looked at against West Ham at Old Trafford, she started out on the wing. And while she wasn't like great, she was kind of still the best of a bad bunch in that first half, and then she was moved centrally and just was completely outstanding.
I think it's exactly the way I see it is that she held the middle, and then Casey realized that she needed somebody to be able to pass the ball forward for the strikers. And Jackie can do that. I mean, there was that most beautiful pass, that she can make, and she made them each and every time. Just because the striker couldn't get on it does not, remove the point of the beautiful passes that she can make. And Casey needed more offense, and that was the way she did it. She did it with Jackie, and then later on when she started playing Casey and Lucy, I do think that Casey by this point had gone to the board a number of times with regards to the conditions, and it's sort of, and I think they just basically say, play what you got, and so she was like, okay, I'll play what I got, and these are homegrown, Man United players, and Jackie, yes, she has another contract, but gosh, you're telling me that the Americans are buying out their contracts to stay in the United States, from Manchester City, so she could certainly buy out a contract from Manchester United if she doesn't like who the manager's coming in. And she's an international star, and anybody would love to have her.
The way I see it, I do agree with Marty in that, like how Kristen said she played on the wing and all that. And I think we saw in the very first game versus Chelsea, she had her on the bench because she needed an option. She needed something else. And I think that's what it is, potentially. I mean, I don't know whether, there's talk of we were going to sign Borarisa and all that kind of thing, and now it's saying it's waiting until next year, and so maybe she did look for someone to come in. Who knows? But yeah, I do think, like you say, Jackie's more adaptable, so she can play Jackie on the right, she can play Jackie here. Then yeah, it does lose from what you get in the middle, but she obviously thought, for her wisdom, that it was best to have Katie and Jackie there, and then have Stanley further forward or drop Stanley back and do this and that. I think, sort of comment from Vicky there, a new manager will settle everything down. I think, we'll know where we are. I think Emma Sanders has come and said it. She's laid good foundation. There is a base there. If a good manager does come in that can build, there is good players there. I know we're going to talk about transfers next show with Rich, but there is solid foundation. Even if it's not the best training, it's not the worst. And I know that's not what we want to hear, but I think there's a good academy, good RTC, good pathway, a lot of good stadium, good fan base. So a lot of things are good, but good's not good enough for Man United. So that's just my little 2 pence on the whole situation as well.
There's constantly over 30 people watching, so please hit the like. And also remember, at 8:15, we're going to go live on our brand new channel, All for United, purely just women's content. So if you follow All for United and you have to go through all the men's content that you're not particularly keen on, then come across to our show, because we have got 5 or 6 shows a week on that brand new channel. So it's going to be fantastic. So 8:15, you can get the link on our Twitter page and go from there. Ben, do you want to give a shout out to this season, mate?
Do you know, I don't know all the people. We'll give a shout out to the main lot anyway, so they deserve shout outs. But I want to give a shout out to Kirsty Hansen, because I'm not saying anything about her for a good number of weeks on the show. So I thought just a different, just to give a bit of a different aspect to the show, just to give a little bit of a different opinion on things, because that surprised me, because I didn't realise that she's the second top goal scorer for United this season, which really kind of shows you where our problems have been at all season, but also kind of shows you that she's not as bad as some people think that she is as a player. I think you can look at it 2 ways. There's still a young player there that's still learning and developing her game. And I've always said it, and I've said it over the last God knows how many shows that I've been on now, but when I've been talking about Kirsty Hansen, I think you have to really judge her when she comes to the clear golden sort of age of 24, 25, that sort of age group where you've got, then you're moving into your prime years, and you've got to give performances week in, week out. I think at the moment, at her age, she can always have different performances. There's always room for her to not always be on her game. There's always that sort of like how can I put it? There's always going to be them indifferences in performances from one game to maybe the other game. One game she might be absolutely shit up. Everything's going well. The next game, she may have done something wrong, and it gets into her head a little bit, and you don't see the best of her. But I certainly think just give her that 2 or 3 years to develop more, that couple of years, and wait till she gets around that Leah Golden sort of age, and then sort of judge her if she's good enough. Because let's be fair, nobody's a finished article at 21, 22, 23. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't the finished article then. And even then, when you're in your prime years, you're still never the finished article. You're still always looking for that next step up. And I said on my channel that before you invited me on, or one of the reasons why you invited me on this channel in the first place, I did a video on my channel giving, I think, was it 5 reasons? I can't remember, or 10 reasons. I can't remember what it is now. About that. And I did say the goal scoring, if she can add a few more goals to her games, she'll become a better, more completed player. And this season, she seems to have added the goals, but less assists. I'm not 100% sure what her assists are. I did try and try and work it out, but a number of different websites are giving me different number totals, so I don't want to be, misquoted on it, so I won't go into the assists too much. But certainly for Kirsty Hansen, if she can sort of level both of them up, so she's got for example, this season she's got 7 goals, but if she could have got maybe 10 assists on there, I think that you're looking at a more completed player. And I've seen it on other shows, like I think when we did the one outside LSV, that I think there's a couple of different things she needs to bring to a game a little bit more. I think she cuts inside too much. Just vary your play up a little bit. Instead of cutting inside, we look to go on the outside of players because, let's be fair, Kirsty Hansen in full flight, you're not getting the ball off her. She's strong as an ox, mate. She's a very muscular player. You see the way she's built, She's like a tank. She reminds me a little bit of an Antonio Valencia type player, where you're built strong as an ox, and people are not going to barge you off the ball in full flight. They're going to go flying off you. So I do think we get her to just vary a game up a little bit. Just think about the game overall. Just a little bit more. You'll see a better Kirsty Hansen, a better all-rounded Kirsty Hansen in terms of her on-field player. But it's pleased me, 7 goals. I didn't think she got that many. I thought she had about 5. But, my counting is absolutely rubbish as it is anyway. But 7's pleased me. That's pleased me. I said she can add the goals to a game. Because, listen, she's got a good shot on her as well. People seem to forget, if you can get a shot away, get that shot away. But certainly, if you can't get a shot away, you're running into a crowded area, try and go on the outside a little bit more. Because if she gets the byline and put a crossing, her crossing is really underrated, She's got a really good cross, especially to the far post, especially when Leah's playing. And I think that's probably when we dropped off the assist a little bit, because Kirsty and Leah have an understanding. And it's the same with Leah as well. You'll always see that either player looks at the far post for one of them, for each other to run into. So if Kirsty's got the ball, she's always looking at that far post. Where's Leah? Can I get that ball into that far post? Because if we get that ball into that far post, I know that Leah Gold is going to pop up. And it's the same with Leah. When Kirsty's playing on the opposite side, it's like, I might be able to get this on the far post. Kirsty's going to be steaming in. I know exactly what's going to happen. They've got a little bit of an understanding. Still plenty to learn, but she's getting there. Just a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. What I don't like is people like when I see, and I said it on Wall of Reds last night, when I see like these fans that like to be controversial, like to be a bit outspoken. They start laying into players, saying they're not good enough. You try to be 21, 22, 23 years old, playing for the biggest club in the world, playing at the highest level that you could play in terms of in the leagues. You're playing at the top of the league. She's not long gone fully professional herself as well, let's be fair. Like a lot of the OG21 players, she's not long gone professional herself. She's still learning away. Just give these players a little bit of time, because you're going to need her. And to be fair, I even said it, even if she doesn't quite make the starting 11, week in, week out, she's a very good squad player, a very, very good squad player to have, especially with tiring legs against fullbacks, that might be huffing and puffing a little bit. That last 15, 20, you're chasing a goal. We've seen it against Arsenal in the first season of the Conti Cup. She absolutely ran that fullback ragged. We just need to give her a little bit of time. And even at 24, 25, it's not worked out. Hands up. Sorry, Kirsty. It's not quite worked out for you, but you still be playing a decent level of football. And that's what she will. She will play a decent level of football. And I think I blabbed on too much, as usual. So I'll let someone else take over.
I'm conscious of time, but I do just want to quickly give Hansen a shout out myself, because he started off the season playing when Heath and Press missed the first couple of games. And I'm sure Hansen played like 3 or 4 games at the start. And she was only taken out of the squad, out of the team, purely because Preston Heath and Musso was all coming back, basically. She was never took out because of how bad she played in the first few games. She actually played really well. And I think I might have even said that she was our player of the match on, I think maybe the second or third game. I think it was maybe Honor probably got it for the first game. And I'm sure I called Kirsty Hansen as one of our players of the matches early on. We've also got to remember what she's been through as well, off the field when it comes to, obviously, Twitter, obviously going off on one as well, and she's dealt with that. and then she's come back, banged in a few goals at the end of the season when we needed her the most, when we didn't have Heath and when we did have Galton. She stepped up when a lot of players didn't step up. So I am glad that you mentioned that one, Ben. She's definitely someone that I'm a massive fan of as well. And don't forget, she's signed a 3-year contract. It's not like a 1-year extension or a 1 year with an option to extend. She signed a 3-year contract, which is massive for our club, isn't it, at the moment? So shows that she was in Casey's plans, and hopefully she'll be in the new manager's plans as well. So yeah, massive shout out to Hanson. Matt, who do you want to give a massive shout out to, mate?
Tooney.
Why?
Yeah. No, I'd gone for Tooney as my player of the year. And I did say, obviously, we had a discussion, didn't we, about sort of Jackie and Ona being close. But I think for me, since certainly last season and since season 1, I think Tooney's come on massively. I talked about season 1, but I think obviously championships are completely different league to WSL. And let's not forget, she didn't play much at Man City in the WSL, or at all for that matter. So I think for me, somebody that's, 21 years of age, top scorer this year, top assists as well. I think 10 goals, 7 assists. And it's good because she's broken into the Lionesses team, which has been an ambition of hers since she was little. Yeah, like I said earlier, she's just linked that midfield alongside Hayley and Jackie when they've played as a trio. And it's interesting because every time I log on Twitter, she seems to get so much hate and criticism. And it's ridiculous. I can't understand it. People are telling me, oh, well, she was poor January to April. But the funny thing is that she scored more goals January to April or January to May than she did pre-January. So people coming with that argument, factually, it's incorrect. I think after January, it was something like 6 goals, 3 assists. Pre-January, I think it was 4 goals and 4 assists. So the argument that people come with, oh, she's poor or she's been poor second half of the season, for me is flawed. Can't understand it, but football's opinions and people are allowed opinions. Whether I agree or disagree, I've always said this, it's not a problem. But it is a strange one, something I can't get my head around. I don't understand how one player that's your own that comes to the academy that's scored the most goals and stepped up this year when others have either been injured or been poor can get so much criticism. But hey ho, that's where we're going. I think we've seen a bit of versatility. She has played wide. Has it maybe been a best position? Probably not. But then I think that's a credit to Casey because like I said in season 1 or Tooney previously, she's been a wide player. You're a right winger or a wide forward. So to come in, to adapt to sort of a centre mid or centre attacking mid or a 10, whatever you want to call it, in, sort of 2-3 seasons is a credit to her. It really is. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of them really. For me, like I say, she's really stepped up. She deserves all the praise and credit. Unlucky for me, like I say, not to win player of the year, but, so are other players, that haven't won it as well. But it's one of them. Like I say, I think for me, people are saying, oh, well, if such a player wasn't injured, they'd have been better. And it's like, well, yeah, great. That's happened, though. You could argue that for anyone. You could say if like Ben.
Oh, Matt's gone. I'm sure he'll be back in a second.
I just want to add to that Tooney point. I know he'll be back, but yeah, I totally agree with what he's saying. For me, Tooney, I'm surprised. I'm seeing people saying they're surprised about how many assists. I'm just trying to pull it up. See how many assists. 7 assists. 10 goals. She's been, for me, like I said, I'd probably have her second. I do think Jackie has been the sister, but I probably would have Tooney second. And I understand where Marty's coming from. She did miss a lot of chances, but I think she joined this team and she was a winger. She then got moved and was playing as a 10. She had to adapt as a 10. Sort of the first season, then she's playing WSL, so that's a step up, and she didn't even play a lot of games. I think every game that she came on last year, she changed the game, so she either assisted, scored, did different things. This is always coming off the bench. This season, I think she started, and for me, she's been our best player, really, attacking. She's been there consistently. Yeah, injuries, we can say we got injuries through this, that, and the other, but, she's been there. She's been scoring the goals. She's our top goal scorer. She's our top assister. And for me, I think it's only going to be onwards and upwards for Tooney in terms of doing that. And I just want to say it is a surprise that, I remember Matt used to say she's not a 10. She's not a 10. Why is she playing a 10? It's silly. What's Casey doing? And then bang, now look at her. When I see her on the wing, I think, why is she playing a wing? Why is she playing a wing? Get her in the middle. You miss her in the middle. So she, for me, might be the reason. Everyone knows what I think of LJ. LJ is a different class. LJ is phenomenal talent, generational talent. But we might not miss LJ as much because I think Tooney works even harder than LJ. And I think that's why, potentially we're not seeing LJ as much. We've seen LJ on the wing. We've seen LJ on the bench coming off, influencing the game. She can always influence the game, LJ. But it's been Tooney that's playing. That's driving up and down. And people say they want to see LJ in the middle. Well, LJ doesn't go back as much as Tooney goes back. I think we had, what's his name, Rahul. Rahul came on and said Tooney's like a box-to-box midfielder, but she's playing as an attacking midfielder. And that's, for me, the difference. Maybe that's why people are a bit critical of her, because maybe the pressing dropped off. But I think the pressing dropped off from everyone, and then I think it was all through her, on her to sort of do everything, because the midfield wasn't as good as it was at the start. So, this and that. But I think there's so much potential for Tooney to do everything. And like I said, you can quote me, she might not miss LJ as much through her potentially stepping up and working 10 times as hard.
Yeah. It just makes you think as well.
If I could just add one thing, I do think that it's the perception. The people who are saying what they're saying, they just watch the match and they're not a big fan, and if they read something, all they're going to read about is who scored the goals. They're not going to see about, who started the pass that got past to somebody else and who had the best, lead. And one of the things that I was disappointed when I started watching the WSL is y'all don't count assists. So that number is only there because we're paying attention to it, because we care enough and we're invested enough. And even if, it's not on the WSL website, it should be on the Man United women's website, or at least the Barmy Army should furnish the information, because that really does give you a fuller picture of all the offensive players that we have, because it's not one person running up and down the pitch scoring a goal. There's other players involved. And one of the best passes I've ever seen Tooney make was the one that she fed Tobin Heath, and Tobin Heath scored that smashing goal that basically put the other team underneath their heel, and that was fabulous. So I do think that's a stat, and part of these people complaining, and which they really should be kinder, or at least fairer, more fair, especially if they don't know what the heck they're talking about, is that they just look at first blush and they're not really investigating, and the numbers just aren't there. Assist numbers aren't there. And if they had the assists, they would be like, oh, wait a minute, she's scoring goals, but look at all these assists. She must be involved in a positive way.
I think you'll find when Sky come out, Sky love their stats, you'll see from next season, I think Sky Sports will have a lot of stats because they love their stats. So I think you'll see stats like your assists, like your bloody goals ratio stuff and all that lot. They love all that sort of stuff. So you'll definitely see at least an assist chart there, because they love all that sort of stuff, Sky Sports. So, which is a good thing to look forward to.
Yeah, I should shut those people up.
Martin, sticking with yourself then. Who would you have put as player of the season, or who do you want to give a shout out to?
I can't disagree with Ona being player of the season. The ones that I want to give shout out to are Tobin Heath, because that's the only reason why I even watched Man United women's games. But the one that I was so impressed with, that I fell in love with watching, was Amy T. She will basically stand in front of somebody and say, I'm not going to let you pass me. You'll have to go through me. And she just stands up to people. She had bad luck on a couple of matches, and unfortunately they were really, really critical matches for us as the standings went. But I was so impressed with her. I really almost felt like sending her a t-shirt that said, I'm a wall. But I thought that would be too stalkerish. So I decided against it. But no, I just like the way she plays. She plays with guts and fury, and she's just going to stand in front of you and not let you past. I can't disagree with it. Tobin, I wish she hadn't gotten hurt. I wish she had finished the season because we would have been such a better place. For it.
Just on that one, Marty. Obviously, you mentioned Amy Turner there. A few rumours about her maybe going to the United States. Do you hear anything on your side about that at all?
Which one, Amy Turner?
Yeah. Hopefully,
I would be surprised.
Hopefully, she won't go.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, who's it? Her fiance got signed by the North Carolina Courage, which is essentially, Chelsea. Of the WSL. I mean, North Carolina Courage has literally a, national team player every position for the most part. And if they don't have a national team player, they got a Herman Trophy winner, which is the top, college award you could get in the United States, the college NCAA. So that doesn't surprise me. My understanding is that she went to UNC for her college and trained under Anson Dorrance. So she knows the area, she knows the heat, she knows the humidity, that just wouldn't surprise me, especially, but the thing is if it surprises me less, Amy going, if Abby Dahlkemper stays in England and plays for Man City. Now, rumor is that I heard last night on the Houston, Kansas City telecast is that Dahlkemper may be coming back to the Courage. And if Dahlkemper is coming back to the Courage, that's exactly the same position that Amy plays, and I can't remember who, and the other one who's plays with her is the captain of the Courage. She's a former national team player. And she has a very, very long name that I never could pronounce. So, you could look it up, but she's the other, she's the other back there. So that to me would throw a wrench into things in terms of how things flow and how things move around. But I would find Dahlkemper coming back to U.S. surprising, because the whole reason she went to England is because she married her fiance, or her fiance was playing abroad. So I find that to be, a little suspect.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. If she does return to that club, then maybe the rumours about Amy T are just rumours.
Well, can I ask Marty a quick question? Courage, I don't know where it is in Carolina.
North Carolina.
Is there any?
It's in.
Other...
It's around Raleigh, Durham area.
Is there any other places? So if her fiance lived there, could she live like 20 minutes away? Is there any other teams local to Courage?
Okay, the North Carolina Courage is in Cary, North Carolina. The closest would be the Washington Spirit, which is 4 hours away, or Orlando, Florida, which is 3 states away. So I would say the Washington Spirit, which is 4 hours away.
And do you know if they need a defender?
They just signed Emily Sonnet. They signed Sonny. They got Sonny, but and the other one is Staub. They have pretty much. I mean, I can't imagine anybody wanting Amy T, but it also has to do with there's a limit on how many international players you can sign per club. They have it's all like you have rules about how many Americans can come over, and the Americans have to have certain percentage of national team playing, and you can't just be, or you have to have English heritage. Okay, you have to sort of have, some sort of citizenry, qualifications. So everybody's got their rules. So it's just a matter of watching and waiting.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want her to leave anyway.
I don't want her to leave, but I want her to be happy. If she's playing, she's not happy. That's not good playing.
Can I just bring Christian in on Tobin Heath just before I end the show with Leah Galton? Just what are your thoughts on how well Tobin really settled into England as well?
Yeah, I think she was kind of one of the biggest reasons why we played so well in the first half of the season. Not only did she bring quality to our front line, she also brought that leadership experience and also winning mentality which we saw. I think she was one of the biggest reasons why we managed to grind out wins in tight games, which we didn't really manage to do. Last season. So yeah, I think she was a huge miss for us in the second half of the season.
Massively, yeah. And Matt mentioned how many goals Tooney scored. Just imagine if Galton, Heath, and Russo had all stayed fit. How many assists would she have got then, and how many goals would those three attackers maybe set Tooney up with another goal as well or two? So, you know, it just makes you think that I personally think that the midfield three should stay the same next season. I'm really happy with Ladd, Tooney, and Jackie, with obviously additions to the squad just in case those guys get injured. But it looks like the front three we are really going to be making a few changes. I'm going to shout out Leah Galton purely because I know that she's not the player of the season this season because the amount of time that she's been off. I think I said back in January the player of 2020 is Leah Galton. I think from the start of the year to the end of the year she was there, but I can't say that she's the player of the season this season purely because of lack of game time. But I think if you go by maybe the amount of minutes that she's actually played and the amount that she actually influences the game, I think she's up there. I think I don't really see that many managers that would play a left winger as left back just to get her on the pitch. I think that was absolutely amazing what Casey ballsy, you know, to do that just to get on the pitch. And I remember in one of the interviews, you know, Casey actually said I had to get my best players on the pitch and play them in any position, and she was obviously referring to Leah Galton by doing that. And she actually looked comfortable on that left-hand side with, at the time, Heath on the left and Galton behind her and overlapping. That just shows exactly what Leah can do as well. She does things for the team. Still, I think was she the third leading goal scorer this season? I think she was the third leading goal scorer. And I feel like she's hardly played compared to the season before as well. So, massive shout out to Leah. Look, I really want to see her play next season the exact same way she's been playing for us all for the last 3 seasons. I hope that the new manager gives her that freedom to carry on and play just the way she wants to play. I don't want her to be restricted. If she wants to play for England, that's absolutely fine. But I just want her just to keep her mind on the game. Whoever comes in, I want her to bounce off her. So obviously she's got a great relationship with the players already. There's going to be some wholesale changes. She's going to be upset that a few players leave. There's going to be some new players that comes in that she may never even heard of or played with before. So all this kind of chemistry, I think, rubs off, and I think you need to be very mindful of who you're bringing in because, as Natalie mentioned, we have got a core of players there, especially from the OG21 that she's part of. That's good enough. We just need to now get rid of some of the players who didn't play much last season and just enhance our squad. Natalie, do you want to finish up on that one?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, I was thinking, Leah, everyone who listens to her interviews, it is sort of Casey made me fall in love, Casey made me join this team, Casey, and it is worrying when you think about it because Casey brings out the best in her and she's like, oh, Casey always says that you're the best player. And I always then say it just because Casey said that you're the best left winger and all this. And the manager's going to have to still keep that arm on her, still motivated that way, whoever the new manager is, and gonna, it's hard, but they're gonna have to learn. Like this is how Leah does it. She's got her way, and she's still under contract. I'm seeing someone say, no, she just signed a new 3-year like Hansen, so not worried about her. I think she still loves this club, but the manager's gonna have to win everyone around the players, the fans, staff if they're still there. Or bring in their own staff, but gonna have to learn a lot because Leah Galton, when she's on that fire form, different class, unplayable, and she does everything for us. Like you say, playing left wing, left back versus City, bombing up and down, putting the crosses in. She was the cross that Hansen scored from left back versus Arsenal. So she just had to get like Leah on the pitch, bombing forward, and that's the only worry is Leah. Leah remaining happy. She looks happy though to me. I'm happy that she's happy, and let's roll on for pre-season.
Yeah, let's look forward to that pre-season. Been a cracking show tonight. I really enjoyed the fact that we've been able to speak positively about so many players, and thankfully, Marty mentioned Amy Turner as well. I know John Fry in the comments mentioned Amy Turner, and we could still go through a lot more players, couldn't we? And it's nice to kind of end the season because we won't really be talking too much about last season now. On Thursday, we've got Richard Laverty coming up. Matt, tomorrow's show. Obviously, we'll be discussing different things more about women's football more than United season last season. So we have kind of put to bed now last season. We can all use describing words about how it went, but generally, it is what it is now. That's gone. We need to move on. Speaking about moving on, we're going to move on to our brand new channel in 10 minutes' time. So I've just put a tweet out on the All for United Twitter account so you can see the link. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We've got about over 100 subscribers and we haven't even gone live on there yet. So thank you very much. It is purely just for Man United women's team content, or Matt will be doing a women's football content show on the Tuesday night as well. So please join us over there at 8:15. We're going to go live just for 15 minutes, talking to you a little bit about what to expect on the channel. And thank you. So Marty, if anybody wants to find you on Twitter, how can people do that?
It's at Marty_Funk19. So it's real simple. I usually retweet stuff, or I just ought to say stuff. And you either agree with it, disagree with it, challenge me, argue with me. I'm not mean. I'm just as I see it. I think that if we didn't have the injuries, I think we would have had different outcomes when it came to the Arsenal and the Chelsea game. Okay, definitely. And we should never have lost to Reading. Is my position is we just should never have lost to Reading. So, and I think it was that point that really, it was a little bit of a tipping point into like, we need to fix this. And so, but I love the season. I thought they did great. Yeah, we have a solid team. We're not sure who's leaving in terms of the coaching staff as well, because Casey brought in all our own people. And at least here, the manager goes, they take their whole crew with them. So, or the other is said is that you have a new manager come in and they bring all their own people. So either way, there's going to be a coaching staff shake up, which is the way I see it. And then we still don't know whether the board is going to be supportive. Obviously Casey lost, in terms of the arguments. Otherwise she would never have resigned. So we don't know how that's going to turn out. So,
thank you. Good on, Marty. We'll have to get you back on very soon.
But thank you. I had fun. It was nice seeing everybody.
Yeah, it's great to get you back on again. Christian, thank you for coming back on again. I know it's been a while. We'll get you back in over the summer to discuss any transfers that we've made or any transfer rumours. Christian, if someone wants to find you, how can they go about doing that, mate?
Well, yeah, my @ is at the screen. It's at Christian J Mo. So if you want tactical analysis or articles about Manchester United women or whatever, I recommend following me there.
Excellent. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Christian. Nice one. And Natalie, Matt, and Ben, I'll see you in 5 minutes on our brand new channel for the first time. Thank you, guys. I'll see everybody soon. Thank you.